Yeah, welcome to the open book, where truth don't hide, stories ride, and every chapter got that power. Turn the page, now you stepping in, where real ones talk and the fake pretend. From viral heat to deep convo, we write the truth, let the whole world know. This ain't just a channel, it's a movement. The open book, every story, every voice.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the open book. This is your host, Lakeisha. I hope everyone has a happy Sunday on today. I am just sitting back chilling on this Sunday evening, knowing that, hey, this is about to be a busy week. But hey, I just want to do something and share something with you all. And at the same time, y'all, it's just chill mode, not too formal on this live, but we're going to kick back and look at some videos, okay, that I came across, okay? Now, one of these videos, Romika's sister, Neek, okay, real futuristic Neek, shared it. So I said, well, if Romika's sister is sharing this video, she must have found some type of truth in the video. And I also want to know if Q knows that he has a starring role in this video. Out my mouth dropped because I said, now wait a minute. How in the world did this happen? Okay, so we're going to get into it. Let's see who we have here so far. Shout out to Philly Girl Juice coming through with the first super sticker and for being a sponsor for today's live. Welcome, sis, and thank you for being first in the building. And also, because we hit our goal, I think it was 2 days ago, I am going to do a special giveaway on this live. Okay. Hey, Beth, welcome. Thank you for joining. My girl, Miss T, is in the building. Welcome. She said, I just had started this morning's live. I'll go back later. Right. Okay. See, you had all day, but I know we had church today. Okay. But it's not that long. It's not that long. So make sure you go back. Yes, y'all. Make sure you tap that like button. Let everyone know we are live. Hey, Barbara, welcome. Thank you for joining. Hi, Sherry. Thank you for joining. I appreciate everyone for tapping in this evening. I know on Sunday evenings, y'all, some people actually take naps. I used to before I had children, but I just feel like I can't rest like I used to do in my single state without kids because they may get into something and all of that. So, yeah, those little Sunday naps kind of went away. And so now, I just kind of see what's going on. These YouTube streets, I noticed after I got out of church, they have been on fire all morning. I said, well, let me get in where I fit in. Because, baby, it's a lot going on in various sectors. That's what's so funny. It's multiple sectors where things are happening right now. People are being spread thin, being nosy from chat to chat. Okay, y'all know how that goes. Trying to be in the bushes over here. Sometimes, y'all, I have 2 and 3 chats open, okay, trying to see what's going on so I don't miss anything. Hey, Tabany, welcome. Okay, Miss T said I'm in California, 3 p.m. So I'm just cooking dinner and getting ready to settle down. Okay, so yes, it's still early there. Got you. Okay. Yes, girl, it's messy, child. Okay. It is, when I tell you, I don't think I've seen so many storylines at one time since Friday. And it's been multiple storylines taking place. I'm like, wow, this is like, during the weekdays, you have multiple soap operas. Baby, this is like a weekday. Okay. Young and the Restless, All My Children, One Life to Live, then General Hospital. That's what it feels like. Okay. Hey, Spilling the Grits, welcome. She said, I'll take a nap when I get off at 10 p.m. tonight. I'm tired. Oh, I know that's right. And some people were up late last night, so they probably still sleep. Okay, I tried to hang, but y'all, I can't hang too long. Thank God for the message at church this morning. Yes, okay. We had a good word today as well. And then also on our open book worship experience this morning. If y'all didn't tap into that, make sure y'all tap into that later on as well. It was an awesome word from Pastor Jerome Glenn from New Light Church there in Chicago. Gave an awesome word. Hey, 71 Suburban Girl is in the building. Thank you so much for joining, sis. Okay, so we're going to get into it. Let me pull up this video. Yeah, this is a very laid back live. Grab you a snack, something to drink, and let's just watch this because in some of it, I'm watching with y'all. I watched half of it already, and my mouth dropped. Okay, on some of the things that were shared in this video, and then some of the things that we've been wondering. Okay, now let me also say my disclaimer. This live is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is covered under the Fair Use Act. Information shared is alleged in our opinions as we react to various topics and people. Okay, so this is allegedly, okay? But y'all, let's get into this.
Not long after the bell rang at this elementary school Monday morning, gunshots rang out nearby, leaving a young boy without his mom.
What do you tell a kid when you just drop me off? How do you just say she's not here anymore? How do you explain it?
Police say the 31-year-old victim, whose name has not yet been released, was near Cermak and State just after 9. Early information leads investigators to believe some sort of a fight unfolded and the suspect pulled out a gun, shooting the victim in the face. The victim was rushed to Stroger Hospital while the suspect was cuffed at the scene.
It's not fair. The person doesn't come back. You need to understand that.
Before Romeka Meeks dropped her son off at school that morning, she had proof. Proof that would destroy Carlos. Proof that would expose Holly. And according to someone who was there, proof that got her killed. For months, we've been told Romeka was unstable, jealous, dangerous. The videos showed her spiraling. Her own actions on camera seemed to prove it. But what if those videos were edited, cut up, passed around by at least 8 people who knew exactly what they were doing? I was the delivery boy. They used me to destroy her reputation before they took her life. The man spreading those clips is finally ready to talk. This is what Romeka found on Carlos's phone. This is why she had to be silenced. And this is the audio evidence that changes everything. And if you're still watching, comment "I'm still here" to show your support for Romeka. She deserves to have her story told.
Okay, now let me say this for those of you. Welcome, those of you coming in. Hey, Boogie Bella, Shelly, that just came on in. Janet, welcome everyone. Latte. Now, y'all, for those of you just coming in, I was sharing with everyone else earlier that Romeka's sister, Neek, she shared this video. And so I clicked on it because I was interested. You know, she doesn't just share anything, okay? But I wanted to know what in this resonated with her in this video. Now, on, I believe, Friday, and some of you may have tapped into Q's Live, he was sharing some details, okay, some more details. And like I said, everything is allegedly, okay, of this whole situation with Romeka being discussed prior, okay, previously of this happening. Now, on that particular day, he was stating that it wasn't supposed to have gone down there. And I'm like, what? Now that sounded oddly familiar because I don't know if y'all remember last year, I shared a video from the spiritual detective lady from TikTok. And she even mentioned that as she was channeling, you know, Romeka, things of that sort. I said, I wasn't going to talk about that stuff this year. But this is something I shared previously. But she was saying the same thing. Now, Q has also brought up that there were other parties involved in this, allegedly. Okay. Some women. See, we have gotten away from kind of talking about that part. Hey, Terry, welcome. And thank you so much for the disclaimers. I said it earlier, but thank you for putting it into the chat as well. Hey, Jay Thomas, welcome. And Kay Brown, thank y'all for joining. A lot of the double agent back and forth things that were taking place, we've kind of gotten away from that. Okay, our main focus has been on Holly and Carlos, and rightfully so, because they are the ones that were on the scene. Okay, they were the ones. Holly's in jail. Carlos was there. Okay, although he every time he speaks about it, he leaves himself out. But sir, you were there. Okay, you were there. And we that's been our main focus. But there are other people allegedly that also had a hand in some of the setting up of all of this. Not just on that particular day, but things were built, things were put into motion. Now, something else that Q said on that live. Now, okay, this is live. This is out of his own mouth, not coming from me. This is allegedly coming from his mouth that things were put into place. And a lot of this is to protect someone big in charge with millions of dollars. Now, that stuff gets deep. I ain't gonna even talk too much about that. But there are different things at play. Okay, this thing is bigger, y'all. So we've stated from the beginning, this is bigger than we think. Okay, this thing has layers of information, things that were being done behind the scenes leading up to this moment. As we can even see in the reports, the transcripts for how Holly got her restraining order, okay, that TPO, that there was some fishy things being done. Okay, some fishy things being done. But y'all, let's get into this video because baby, woo. Hey Frodo's welcome. Hi Tanya.
Let me take you back to September 8th, 2025, the day the world met Rebecca Meeks. Except we didn't really meet her. We met a version, a character, a woman painted as out of control. The story we got went like this. Holly Johnson was minding her business, moving her baby from Carlos's car to her own. Rebecca showed up out of nowhere, made a U-turn, blocked Holly's car, started a confrontation, got physical, and Holly, a pregnant mother with her 6-month-old in the back seat, defended herself. The videos backed it up. Rebecca looked wild, emotional, obsessed with a man who'd clearly moved on. And most of us believed it. Why wouldn't we? The footage was everywhere. Here's what nobody mentioned. Those videos were clipped, stripped of context, pushed through a network of people before they ever hit your timeline. And the man who helped spread them just went live and admitted he was being used. They needed everyone to see her as crazy, because if people saw her as credible, they'd believe what she found. This isn't some random person making claims from the outside. This is someone who says he was in the room. Someone who played a part in what happened, and someone who's now breaking rank. The man calling himself Q went live recently, and what came out of his mouth made people stop scrolling. But before we get into his allegations, you need to understand who he is. Q is...
Now wait a minute. I said, how did this person in this video, okay, this AI voice, know about Q? Okay, and Q's lives, okay, recently that he's been discussing some of this information, okay? And we've said that as well, y'all, with the videos that were being put out. Those videos were showing Romika's reaction. We never really saw full video footage from the complete conversation. They were conveniently recorded to show her reaction in a situation. And so when you leave out the context of a video, okay, that is very, very key because, and especially if you're dealing with people that are trying to hide something, or if you have people with narcissistic tendencies, child, they want you to look a certain type of way so that people won't believe you. People think you're crazy. Okay, they try to get ahead of the story, ahead of what they believe you're going to expose. Okay, so they have to make you look a certain type of way.
Isn't claiming innocence. He's not painting himself as a hero who tried to save Romeka. He straight up admits he was used as what he calls a delivery boy. He helped spread the videos that destroyed her reputation before she died. According to Q, Carlos and Holly both coordinated with him, fed him clips, made sure the same story was coming from multiple directions at once. And for a while, it worked. The narrative stuck. Now you might be asking yourself, why should we trust someone who admits
Now, I don't think he's admitted that Carlos is sent it to him. He was saying they were sent to him videos. We've seen pictures with Holly at one point, and we've stated that that was probably Holly sending you those pictures, okay, because her social media is shut down. She wanted people to think of certain things. And this is while she was free, out here and about, worrying about her pictures being online. Even when she set up her YouTube channel, what was the first thing she started doing? Putting pictures from a baby shower, okay, her out on the boat, things of that sort, to make her look a certain type of way. She was not out here trying to say, I've been falsely accused, or trying to stand up for herself. No, no. She was out here trying to make herself look a certain type of way, like she's innocent. This is my life. I'm all that, and so forth. Shout out to S. Rogers for the super sticker and for being a sponsor for today's live. Thank you so much.
he helped tear this woman down? Fair question. But here's the thing. Q isn't just talking about the videos anymore. He's talking about what was on those videos. And more importantly, what was on Carlos's phone. The phone Romeka got her hands on. The phone that Q says contained proof of a double life Carlos was living. And that's where everything shifts. According to Q, Romeka didn't just find text messages from another woman. She didn't stumble on some surface-level cheating. She found videos. Videos of Carlos with men. Evidence that the life he was showing the world wasn't the full picture. Now let's be clear about something. Who Carlos is attracted to is his business. This isn't about shaming anyone for their sexuality. But this is about lies. Secrets. And what people will do when those secrets are about to come out. Q says the whole energy between Romeka and Carlos changed after she found those videos. It went from arguments about their relationship to something he describes as panic. And here's the part that flips the script. Holly already knew. She'd known about Carlos's hidden life before Romeka ever picked up that phone. Think about what that means. If Holly already knew Carlos's secret and Romeka just found proof, then Romeka wasn't a jealous ex anymore. She was a threat, someone with the power to blow up both of their lives. Put yourself in Romeka's shoes for a second. You just discovered the father of your child has been lying to you, lying to everyone around him. And the woman he's with now? She was in on it the whole time. They've both been playing you. What would you do? Romeka started talking. And according to Q, that's when the videos started dropping.
Now, let me also say this too. Romeka's cousin even stated on Gigi's panel one night that Romeka asked her about a text message. And she said, well, if it's coming from, is that his phone number? Okay. She was like, hey, she didn't go too deep into it. But she did revisit that conversation. Let me know if y'all remember, if anyone in here remembers that live that night when Romeka's cousin was on the panel. Does anyone in here remember that particular live where she did bring up that text message situation? I know we heard that in the beginning, okay? But how ironic that this is being put out again on this video about that and a possible cover up to protect his image, okay, to protect himself from that getting out. And like this guy said, look, I'm just trying to understand something with this, okay? with as many people that come out nowadays, this not like we living in the 40s and 50s where a lot of people were kind of hiding that information. Y'all, people have rights now. There are gay rights, there are things like that. So none of that embarrasses people anymore. Like people were saying about the Tyler Perry situation, like he trying whatever to not have somebody bring him out the closet. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. Like, why is it so much energy? Not saying that is his thing. I'm just saying what, people were saying if that's the case, trying to protect. Oh, I don't want people to know I'm doing that. What? So you rather hide it by sleeping with multiple women, some men, and try to cover it up. Or you're playing with the woman's emotions, trying to use her as a beard while you out here doing Lord knows what. Okay? And really, some of that people can peep anyways. I mean, while people out here trying to hide stuff, child, people can peep it anyways. Live your life. Okay, but if somebody found something out, just be truthful. Live in your truth. Okay. Hey, the queen. Okay, so we have some people in here that remember that live. Okay, quite a few people in here remember that live where she revisited that conversation. So this is not too far off right here from what's being discussed in this video. She said, yeah, it's still men that don't know what a DL lifestyle. Yeah, and let me tell you, I don't know if y'all remember Elin Harris. Okay, he is a famous author. Now, is he still alive? I don't know. Okay, don't quote me on whether he's still alive or not. I think he is. But Elin Harris, I used to read his books faithfully. Okay, and he had a main character in his books named Basil. Put a one if y'all know, if I got anybody in here with me that know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I can know somebody know what I'm talking about. Now, in this book with Basil lived a down low type of lifestyle. However, to him, in his mind, he didn't feel that he was gay. Okay, he felt like he was just getting off. Okay, y'all, I'm trying to keep it. He just felt like he was getting off. Okay, it didn't matter if it was with a man or a woman. Come on, Pooh Girl. Okay, so I'm not by myself. Pooh Girl knows something about that. Elin Harris. Okay, he was doing it with men and women. Okay, Catherine knows. So there are men out here that don't consider themselves gay. They have this thing in their minds where it's just, I love, and my kids, I got some kids, y'all know I love X. Okay, I love X, and wherever I go to do that, that does not mean I'm gay. If one of those X's that I'm trying to have X with, okay, that's just my thing. Okay, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But you're also putting women's hearts into that if you're not being honest and transparent that that's how you roll. Now, if you tell a woman that's how you roll and they still choose to be with you, that's something different. Okay? That's something different. Yeah, it's dangerous. Yes, it can be very dangerous. Hi, Miss Williams. Welcome. Okay. Black men don't want that out. Okay. Jay Thomas said it could be a black man type of thing. Okay, we got some of Elin Harris up in here, Tanya, right now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So that is something that they want to protect, but at the same time, right now, a lot of people are starting to just come out and be honest with it. Okay? If that's your thing, that was your thing. Now, if this is true, what was stated in this video, and if Holly knew something about that and she still chose to want to be with him. Now, something else on that part of it, on that side of it, we just having a conversation, y'all, this evening, very informal and laid back. Well, allegedly, he wasn't trying to have a relationship with her anyways. Okay, some women are okay with the thought of being with someone, and just because he will have sex with you and have a baby with you does not mean that he's still with you. Okay, that's something else to think about because I'm seeing in another sector too. They were talking about having that conversation as well. You know, if a man doesn't outright claim you and say, "This is my woman, we're together," then what are we doing? You are with him, he's not with you. Okay, you've made up this whole thing in your mind that we are a couple. But did he say that? Has he told y'all that you're a couple? Okay. Is he sharing it with everyone else? So those are red flags if a man does not do that. Leopard Luggage Travel said Carlos started, let's see, stated on a live that calling someone gay is one of the worst ways to destroy your legacy or street honor. Those may not be the exact words, but that was the gist of the statement. Oh, you know what? I do remember that. I remember something like that. Yes. Or he said two things. If you were that, okay, or if you were an informant. Those are things that could ruin your credibility out here in these streets or those streets. Because, child, I'm not in the streets. Okay. There's a certain code. They don't want to know if you're one of those. I think I remember what you're talking about. He thought he was living an invisible life. Okay. Now they just call it pansexual. Oh, okay. Okay. Pansexual. I think I saw someone else call it that too. Women are innies and men are outies. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, what is it? Okay. Oh, he died in 2009? I did not know that. Okay, so you read his books too. Yes. Yeah. Oh, Miss Williams, clock that. I thought about that the other day. I thought about it the other day, and I thought I was the only one that felt that way. She is giving Clarissa shit. Because, baby, that man, he just using Clarissa too. I'm going to be honest, okay? He seems like he is using her, in my opinion. She all out here, I'm my man, my man, my man. I'll fight for my man. I'll look crazy for my man. And he is not going to stay with that lady. Okay, so it's given that. I'm glad that you said that because I thought I was the only one.
Describes a network of about 8 people, not some massive operation, just enough to make the spread look natural. Carlos and Holly allegedly worked with these people, including Q, to push the same message from different angles. Here's how it worked. Videos of Romeka get recorded. Could be her confronting Carlos. Could be her emotional. Could be her reacting to something we never see. Those videos get chopped up. Context gets removed. Then they get passed to Q and others who share them like it's just drama they came across. Multiple accounts. Same timeline. Same narrative. Romeka is losing
clock this too, y'all, on that part. Now, you know how I know that part is true? Remember when Q was sharing that video of Romeka holding that man almost got me saying Romeka. When Romeka was holding that cross or whatever that was, that wood thing. Okay, when that was first shared, we only saw that part. Hey, Deborah, welcome. We only saw that part. Okay, now fast forward to about what? A couple of weeks ago, maybe in December, Q posted a longer version of the same video. But in this video, we could hear Romeka saying, I'm not even blocking you in. She was telling him, you lying, saying, I'm blocking you in. And I said, wait a second, that sounds familiar. It's the same lie, but a different day. And I had never seen that part of the video before. Fast forward to about a week ago, there was a longer version on another content creator's channel being played of the same scenario, the same incident, but it was longer. It was like a part we hadn't seen before. I said, no, wait a minute. When this first came out, how come the whole thing wasn't shared? So this goes with what this person is saying in this video, that things were cut, okay, to show a certain narrative, to paint a certain narrative of her. So now we've seen of one incident, 3 different videos. Okay, just like the date of her unaliving, there are multiple angles that were recorded there on the scene. Carla is probably already using someone else's someone else to be his beard. Okay, Barbara Clockett. I don't know. Okay, so Tabity says she remembers that. There were 3 different ones, y'all, of the same incident. But when it was presented to us once, it was a short part to show her upset, angry, holding this wood, whatever that is. Then later on, okay, now it's a longer part of it showing I'm not blocking you in. And he never panned over to show the cars. Then there's another portion of that whole incident where she was saying, I'll come after you. And he said something, he mumbles. See, the thing of it is, anytime he's recording, hey, DeMarcus mom, anytime he's recording, he's mumbling. He has limited vocabulary. See, we're not hearing him popping off cussing. He's just making sure he stays quiet, and then all of a sudden he'll go and record Romika being loud after the reaction. Okay. Yeah, women like Holly are AXK be down for a deal. Man, as long as he is only with men and not women. And if she was going to deal with his DL lifestyle, she had to be the only woman. Men can't like what I like. And then allegedly, hey, she liked a little threesome here and there too. I don't know how true that is, but that was out in the streets. Okay. And then when that came out, did we not say, oh, was she with him and another man or him and another woman? Okay. That was, hey, I didn't put it out there. We were just hearing it. Okay. So that's allegedly. Hey, Teresa, welcome. I'm telling y'all, it's deeper than we think. Right, Tanya Clockett? I believe you. I've been thinking that this whole time. Hey, Joy, Grandma, welcome. Okay, let's continue.
Now, if you've been following this case, you've seen those clips. Romeka confronting Carlos, Romeka crying, Romeka looking out of control. And you might be thinking, how can you edit reality? She's right there doing what she's doing. Here's what Q is saying. The videos were real. Romeka's emotions were real, but the context was stripped out. What happened 5 minutes before someone hit record? What was said to her to get that reaction? What parts were cut to make her look worse than she was? Q admits he didn't question it at first. He thought he was just reposting baby mama drama. But looking back, he says the timing was too tight, the messaging too consistent, and everyone sharing the content had ties back to Carlos and Holly. Have you ever seen a video go viral and then found out later there was way more to the story? That the person everyone dragged actually had a reason for what they did? That's what Q is claiming happened here. The world saw Romeka spiraling, but nobody saw what pushed her there. Let's talk about Holly Johnson. The defense has spent months painting her as a mother who had no choice. A woman who'd been threatened by Romeka for weeks. Someone who only acted when Romeka got physical and she feared for her child's life. But Q is telling a completely different story. He says Holly didn't fear Romeka because of threats to her safety. Holly feared Romeka because of what she knew. And what Romeka knew could destroy the entire life Holly had built with Carlos. According to Q, Holly already knew about Carlos's secret life before Romeka ever found those videos. Which means Holly wasn't just the new girlfriend caught in the middle of drama.
Make sure y'all get the likes up. It is for free. I appreciate that. And welcome to everyone coming on in. Okay. Who stated this earlier? I bet they're building a case. Okay, as we speak, conspiracy, scamming, all of that. Now, also I want to say this too. Hey, Kopi's TV is in the building. Thank you for joining, sis. She said, I seen this morning, exactly what I've been saying and thinking. He cut out parts he wanted. Yes, to make her look bad. Right. Now, with Holly, okay, and what he just said on this video, to me, in my opinion, if a woman is desperate, okay, or a pick-me type of woman, they will put up with whatever just to have that piece of man. Now, I don't know what all he has promised this girl or has said to her, but If that's something that wouldn't be far off, in my opinion, if he did acknowledge that that was the case, and she's like, I'm gonna still stand by my man. Okay, now there may have been a boundary or limit that you can't be with her though. Okay, and someone just said this in the chat too. I put up and turn my blind eye to all the other stuff, but I do not want you fooling with Romika. See, that was a trigger for her. Romika was a trigger. She was intimidated by Romika. Okay. Joy said, I'm annoyed that it's taking so freaking long for Carlos to be arrested and charged. Joy, patience, my dear. Joy was saying that they finally arrested Holly. Now her impatience has switched over to Carlos. It's coming. Okay. Yes, Jay Thomas, he did. He said she's been around for some time. I'm so glad the judge said these videos are out. Yes, I'm telling you. And then, y'all, what's so funny is the truth behind, like in this video, is so much that has come out anyways. But to hear it summarized like this, now some of it, like I said, is alleged. We haven't had any proof of it yet. Okay, I'm gonna say yet, but it's so close. Okay, to some things that we have been calling out. Cold Piece has been calling things out as well since the beginning. Okay, that's starting to surface. And we like, man, okay, child, we've been saying that since the beginning. And now look.
Was part of the cover-up from the start. And when Romeka found proof, Holly had just as much to lose as Carlos did. This reframes the whole case. The order of protection Holly filed against Romeka back in July, Q says that wasn't about feeling unsafe. It was about control. Keep Romeka away legally. Destroy her credibility publicly. And if she still tries to expose what she knows, well, we know how that ended.
And also, remember, Carlos had told Romeka allegedly that Holly was only trying to get that TPO out of malicious intent. Okay? Because Romeka was trying to get her own TPO served on Holly. She was in fear for her and her son's life. Okay, this girl had her son's school address, had been looking up her addresses. Imagine moving because you got a stalker, someone that's researching your stuff, looking on your social media. Okay, so my thing is now you're trying to switch it and make it look like she's the threat to you. That was one of the things that was put into motion prior to any of this happening on September the 8th.
Now I know some of you are thinking, but Holly was pregnant. She had a baby in the car that morning. How could someone in that position plan something like this? And that's a fair question. Because if this really was self-defense, Holly deserves to walk free. But if this was about silencing someone who had proof, then everything changes. And Q isn't the only one pointing out details that don't add up. There are other pieces to this. Pieces about what happened to Romeka's phone. Pieces about who was at the scene after the shooting. Pieces that investigators need to explain. Here's something that keeps coming up in conversations about this case. When Romeka's body got to the morgue, she didn't have a phone. No ID. Nothing on her. We know Romeka had her phone that morning. She just dropped her son off at school. She was a mother. Of course she had her phone. So where did it go? There are allegations circulating that Carlos was at the scene after the shooting, handling phones.
Clock it. Where was her? And that was, y'all, that's a huge question mark. Where were her things? Why did it take her mom so long to be able to find her when she got there? She wasn't even sent down there with the proper name and also allegedly the date of birth. So my wondering too, that has been something I've wondered. Usually in your car, if you have an accident or something of that sort, okay, your purse is in your car, your vehicle. You have your driver's license, you have your purse. Then if you don't have that going on for you, you have your phone. Okay, in your phone, there are ways to open up people's phones. Okay, that in case of emergencies and so forth. Now, where was all of that? If she arrived down there with none of her stuff, it could have been easy for him to say, "Oh, that's my baby's mama. You could go ahead and give it to me. I'll give it to them later." Okay, while you give the wrong name and information. Mm. And then there's video footage of you down there digging and doing something that we don't know. Okay, but where were her things at that time when she was taken to the hospital? Kopi said, yes, you're right, and he played this to his advantage. He benefited from Holly doing this, which makes Holly even more stupid. He played her. Yeah, he played her. Hey, Patricia. She couldn't have been pregnant when that happened. No, I doubt that. She has to know something was about to go on, because why was your... Thank you. Clock that, Carla. That's a huge point of premeditation that I hope the state does not miss. Okay, you don't just be walking around here. You don't be walking around here with no loaded gun. Okay, especially that early in the morning, you're handling your child. You don't even have it secured. You're saying you put your baby into his car seat first, then put it on top of the car, then put it on you. No. It was in the vehicle. Easy access to walk to the vehicle to get. It was laid out ready. Now, unless you knew something was going to pop off, why would you just have a loaded gun in the vehicle with your child where you could just walk around and go get it? Okay, come on, we're not crazy. Please hit the like button. It is for free. Hey, Stephanie, welcome.
Now I can't verify that claim on my own, but it raises an obvious question. If Romeka had found proof on Carlos's phone, wouldn't she have saved that proof to her own device? Wouldn't her phone potentially contain the very evidence that explains why any of this happened? Think about the flow here. Carlos's phone had the original videos. Romeka discovered that content. She likely took screenshots.
Letitia, girl, this is a question mark. This is something I want to know. Because, see, I'm not good at finding all that. I'm going to have to do some research on how to, but I would love to know, how far did it get, okay, with her side of it, with her TPO. She said, I wonder if someone can pull up the restraining order that Romeka put on Carlos. But then I also want to know about the one she put on Holly. How far in the process did that get? See, we know from the other side with Holly's transcripts of her putting that into play, right? Well, the one with Romeka, how far did she get into that process on her TPO requests? I'm very curious to know. But yes, she did drop the one that she had on Carlos. And allegedly, I think they said one reason was because she wanted her son to still have a relationship with, his father. And so she was trying to do the right thing, co-parent with him. But with his type of person, that wasn't working out. Okay, as we could tell, even on August 20th, they were not in a good place. He was still coming up to the school. Okay, he was going to her job and things of that sort. She's telling her family she's tired of being scared. So allegedly, she was going to go ahead and get another restraining order, but that never happened. You think he took it? Shout out to Talking with G. Thank you so much for the super sticker and for being a sponsor for today's live. Thank you so much. Text messages from Romeka's phone because she slipped up and said it. Oh, wow. That alleged. Oh, so he would have had text messages from Romeka's phone? Wow. It was said that the phone is in evidence. Yeah, I've heard that too. And like I said, y'all, I mean, it's a lot that we don't know yet, what all evidence they have. So perhaps some of this will come out later on, like what was on her phone, and all of that. And if they had access to that information, I think Ari in her ear as we speak. Hence why in the motion Ari says co-defendant or co-indictee. I've been telling y'all is coming. Ooh, and I can see that, and that would explain, if Ari took him to a room and he come out looking crazy, okay. Now I don't know how true that was that day. That could explain maybe she has some info about him that he knows. Okay, that may happen. We could tell he was a little shaken during the interview with the cameraman that day. He couldn't even gather his thoughts. He looked like he hadn't had sleep in a year. Okay, so it's definitely something on his mind. So we can see what Romika said about Carlos, and that's also proof he was beating on her. The ambulance people looking for Romika's purse and iPhone. Yeah, like where are her things? That day, it would have been in her vehicle. If she was on her way to work, she had just dropped her son off. We know that she had her phone, right? One reason we know she had her phone is because she took a picture of her son's lunch and she had just made a post. So we know she had a phone. Okay. We know that. Now, your purse and things like that, baby, hey, you're in a rush. I don't know if you forgot your purse at the house. Okay. But we know you had a phone. So where is her stuff? Her purse, her phone, all of that needs to be found. And hopefully it's in some evidence somewhere that we'll find out later. Hey, a precious one, she said they could have ran the plates or looked for the registration to find out her name. Just sloppy mess. Clock that. Because it should have been some type of registration papers. Okay. License plate and so forth. That's a good point. That's a very good point. All right, let's continue.
Made recordings, or transferred files to her own phone as backup. That's what anyone would do if they found something that explosive. Then there's a confrontation at the scene. Romeka is killed, and her phone disappears. The defense says there's no video of the actual shooting. The bus footage doesn't capture it. There's no clear recording of what went down. But if Romeka's phone was there, it could have messages, photos, videos she'd saved as insurance in case Carlos or Holly tried to deny what she found. Investigators would have looked for that phone. They would have pulled phone records and tracked her device. So either it was never recovered, or what was on it didn't help the prosecution's case. Either way, that's a gap. And gaps like that are where doubt starts to grow.
How many guys you let?
Now wait, y'all, before I play that, that is so true. Okay, because they said that pod camera pans and moves around, and by the time the shots were fired, it had panned the opposite direction. So allegedly, hey, they're saying that there is no video of the actual shooting itself. Now, had they had the shot spotter camera still there, which captures it picks up by the sound of gunfire. If they had those still there, it would have captured it. But the mayor did not want to have those shot spotter cameras anymore. It was a whole mess. Okay, last year, whole mess. And it was a whole mess between him and the police. I think the chief or whoever's in charge, the commissioner, whoever's in charge of that police department wanted it. So they were going back and forth. Now it was to the point where they were trying to find another vendor to see who could provide the shot spotter camera service that would capture more, area and so forth. Now, as far as where they are in the process of that, I don't know. Boogie Bella said if she said she had the gun because she thought she may run into her or was scared because she was in the area, is going to backfire because did you want to visit him that bad? Right. Okay. Clock that. They cannot even I know. You know what? That's the part I don't like is the name. Baby, get the name right. Because that made me every time I listen to that, I have to block that part out. But a lot of the other stuff in here has either been confirmed so far, Okay, or they are on it with some of the things we've been thinking. She didn't have her address to send it to her, so the June 18th was the initial date. That was it. Holly went back and got her on the 24th of July, and they granted it because Ramika didn't show up. Right, Francine, correct. Right, we can't wait. She okay, so you thinking she had two phones. Uh-oh. Well, where the other one at? She definitely was gorgeous. Yes. Mm.
Put a gun in your name, nigga. How many guys you would get a car in your name?
Rewind this a little. Now this is actual video, audio, I should say, of Q.
Doubt starts to grow.
How many guys you let put a gun in your name, nigga? How many guys you would get a car in your name for? Get your cornball ass out there. You talking about me? You the real cornball. Tell him about that video of Los getting his booty in. Now tell him about that video. Tell him about that video. And who doing the blowing, nigga? Cause we see who was showing the text messages about the gay, and I'm gonna tell him about everything. And you included it? About how your baby mama was running down the street. You know, everybody know I wasn't nowhere near around my baby mama. My baby mama was going off of her. Everybody knew I was not around. So you trying to say I did the same shit Los did to Romika? David Brown is in it, y'all, too. He gay. I'm telling y'all, it's a video of David. And I'm gonna show y'all because it's a video on my Facebook page that I had hidden.
Pull back for a second and look at the pattern Q is describing. This is important.
Y'all, how come I've never heard that before? What in the world? Has anyone ever heard that? I have never heard. Now, I did hear the video where they were kind of arguing back and forth, but him talking to us saying that he has video proof of that, I've never heard that part of the video before. If she was so scared, why did she park there and she could have left? Right. They keep sounding stupid by saying Holly already had the firearm on her, because if she did, that means Carlos would be locked up for that too, because he's not supposed to be around firearms. Right. And even they were riding together. Okay. Now that in itself, unless you just left a loaded weapon over in the car and then he supposedly drove you over to your car and the weapon was already loaded in the front seat for you to go grab, that looks crazy too. So either you had it loaded and y'all were riding together for the little time that you came from his place to drop you into your car, you're still not supposed to be around it, or y'all are riding together and you already had a loaded weapon over in your vehicle ready to go. That still would not look good. Okay, either way, she said yes, that was on his life. Child, I missed all of it. I'm like, wait, this real audio. I thought it was an AI audio. I missed that live shot. Some of y'all already heard this. Now, I've heard, the accusations or whatever, but I had never heard that particular video of Q. I wonder if the state can pull information from all phones that hit the tower at the time of the shooting. I believe someone has recorded it all. Now, that's a good point there. Hold on, y'all. Maybe my kids in there playing. That's a good, hey. That's a good little thing right there. Leopard, girl, look, I'm talking too fast. Leopard luggage travel. That is a good thing. Now, that would take some skill. Would they be able to do that, y'all? I never thought about that. Now that's a lot of technology right there that you would have to kind of ping to see who was capturing what, if that's even possible. I never thought about that. Hey, Freddie, welcome. Thank you for joining. Girl, yes, you see, you and Barbara, y'all heard it? I've never heard that. I've never heard him say that. Oh my gosh. Okay, he did 2 crash out videos that I know of. Wow. Oh my goodness. I heard it. I was actually on that live. Okay, got you. Hey, Southern Belle. Welcome, sis. My first true crime channel. Keep doing it. Wow. Congratulations. I never knew that. Congratulations. Hey, Buttercup, welcome. Oh, child, I had never, that was a shocker right there. Now, I heard him and D Brown going back and forth on that and stuff, but man,
Step 1. Romeka finds proof of Carlos's double life on his phone. Step 2. A video campaign starts. 8 people. Same message. Romeka is unstable. Step 3. Holly, who already knew the secret Romeka just discovered, files for an order of protection. Step 4. Romeka shows up on September 8th to confront them. There's a physical encounter. Step 5. Romeka is shot and killed. Step 6. The same videos that were used to discredit her while she was alive are now being used to justify her death. Q calls this damage control. And if he's right, it means everything we thought we knew about that morning was staged. A final scene in a plan that started the moment Romeka picked up Carlos's phone. Before we go further, I need to ask you something. If you believe Romeka's story deserves to be investigated fully, if you think there are too many unanswered questions to just accept the narrative we were given, take 5 seconds and share this video. Her family needs to see that people still care, that her name hasn't been forgotten, that we're not letting this go. Now let's address the obvious question. Why is Q talking now? Why go live and admit you were part of spreading those videos? What's in it for him? Q says guilt pushed him to speak up. At watching Holly's case move toward trial, seeing the defense use those same clips he helped circulate, made him realize he was part of something bigger than baby mama drama. Something that ended with a woman dead. But let's be honest, guilt is convenient. Coming forward after someone's already gone is easy compared to speaking up when it could have made a difference. So the real question isn't whether Q feels bad. It's whether what he's saying can be verified. Here's what we can check. Were the videos distributed through multiple accounts in a short window? Yes. Did Carlos and Holly both post similar content with nearly identical framing? According to social media archives, yes. Did Romeka file complaints about harassment before she died? According to court records, yes. So while we can't prove Q was personally involved in the way he claims, the pattern he's describing matches what actually happened. The question is whether it was coordinated or just coincidence. And that's where we need to hear the audio. Q's full live broadcast runs over an hour. I'm going to play you the sections that matter. The parts where he describes what Romeka found, how the video operation worked, and what he believes happened that day. Listen to how he describes the shift.
Destroyed Los rental car. It was a Cadillac truck that he had got. And we had found out about this, but we kind of noticed this too because Los had this other nigga on our block and he looked kind of suspicious, right? And we only say he looked suspicious because the nigga looked fruity. The nigga looked fruity as hell. He was a tall, skinny, dark skin, and he had blonde dreads and his was gay. And Romeka was crashing out on the block that day because she found some shit out in Los's phone saying that Losas was getting his booty in the video. That's why she was tweaking out on the block. And she was saying that, like I told y'all, we was out there playing cards and Los was standing in the middle and he wasn't really saying shit. He was trying to say that she was tweaking, she was lying, and all this and that. And I was just sitting there listening to her ass and I'm like, I know Roro ass ain't lying. She telling us the real truth. She telling us the real truth. She ain't lying, on my soul. Going in the booty and everything. That's why I stopped coming up on the block. Cause there was too many gay stories came out about niggas that had the RBL shit on. They some DL ninja. The fist bump shit that came across, everything. We gonna set all this shit out. That's why she facing first degree murder. Cause we finna get the right justice. And now, he don't want his part to come out cause David really DL. That's what y'all don't know. David be getting fucked by Los. David is one of the buddies. Not booty warrior. On my soul, nigga, straight booty warriors, bro. And I got a million stories, and that's why I stopped coming around, bro. She was doing our normal shit that she always be doing. We thinking it's something, but whole time we see this nigga with the blonde dreads that's pulling with Los, and we never seen this nigga with him before. But look, anyway, look, Los was zooming through the block with the blonde dreads. Boom.
Okay, we're gonna pause for a second. Make sure y'all hit that like, even if you have to go out right quick, hit that like button. But yes, this comment here, I do remember that allegedly, and welcome, Coachy. I do remember he said that his truck got broke into right there, and then there were no camera footage right there, so he started moving his truck and parking across the street. I do remember him coming out saying something like that. Let's see, Carlos didn't want Romika to let the cat out the bag. Okay, let's see here. You would think the senior citizen building has cameras that caught the entire altercation. Yeah, because there is a senior citizen building right there. And you know, like, because if the Sharks, if their camera had some type of footage, you would think that they did too. But y'all, you would also be amazed by some of these businesses and so forth. They have cameras up, but they don't work. They're not functional. Okay, so that there in itself is crazy work. Like you need to make sure Quadre is in the building. Quadre, you've arrived. Okay. You done made, look, you done made it over to this guy. I don't know what channel this is, but they done broke down your whole lives. Okay, you about to shoot up. They got your audio. They got you talking everything. They done summarized the stuff that you said. Oh my God. I was like, I didn't even hear him say some of this stuff. And it is out here. It is out here, baby. You can't even take this back. Okay. It is out here being spread. And this video already has, I think, over 25,000 views, y'all, already. Okay. Let's see. Oops, however, it makes so much sense as to why he involved himself. If this is true, this would have a cure 5 years ago. Q said he hasn't been around for 5 years. Didn't I say? And greetings to you. Didn't I say on Gigi platform their DL me? You did say that. Yes, you did say that. The way Q co-signing it, he act like Los tried him. What do you mean co-signing? No, he said he's not. I was like, wait a second.
He hopping out. He hopping out the car. We all looking like, who the f is this with Los? Woo woo. And then Bisco cracked the joke and was like, that's Los boyfriend. Huh. He laughed. That's Los boyfriend. Ooh, so Romika get the tweaking. Yeah, that's his motherfucking boyfriend. Ooh. I swear for God, G. Everything I look, both of my kids, nigga, I'll never lie. So, old girl, first question she asked me, she say, so you gay too? I say, what? Gay too? What you mean gay? She say, yeah, they gay. I'm like, huh? I'm like, nah, folks them ain't gay. Nah, you tweaking woo doo woo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, folks them not gay. I ain't never knew no shit like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, folks. You talking about Los here? Yeah. Los. Then I'm just like, well, September, when I found out what had happened to Romika and I found out who Holly was, that goes back, and I showed y'all that was her.
Heated to panicked. That's not the language you use for relationship jealousy. That's exposure. That's consequences coming. He's admitting his own guilt here. That actually makes him more credible, not less. If he was making this up, why would he incriminate himself in the process? This is the statement that flips everything. If Holly knew before Romeka found out, then Holly wasn't defending herself from a jealous ex.
Now, I can say this. In Q, is it your birthday today? Or maybe your baby's birthday. I think you said your baby's birthday. Happy birthday to your son today. Now, that's a good point. After this, and when Q started coming out with a lot of this, some of the things he was saying could also incriminate himself. Okay. Sometimes if a person is just like downright lying, they're going to make sure that they leave themselves out of the equation. I can say I was even nervous and was like looking around like, oh Lord, should he be telling all this? He was telling people's names, telling what all he's done and things like that. But he was getting it out. He was getting it out and telling what had been happening. But it was some stuff that I was like, wow, it could have been incriminating to himself too. So that's a good point that they said on this video.
She was protecting a secret that could ruin her life. 8 people. That's a specific number, not some folks or a bunch of people.
Right, Cole Peace?
8. That's something investigators can track down and verify. That's names, accounts, phone records. What do you think? Does Q sound credible to you? Does this audio change how you see what happened on September 8th? Let me know in the comments. Holly Johnson's trial is coming. Her defense attorney has already filed motions arguing self-defense, that Romeka was the aggressor, that Holly genuinely feared for her life and her child's safety. But if Q's allegations hold up, the defense has a serious problem, because motive matters in court. And if Holly wasn't scared of physical violence but scared of being exposed, then self-defense doesn't work anymore. Under the law, you need an immediate threat to claim self-defense. You have to reasonably believe you're in danger right then, in that moment. But if Holly and Carlos spent weeks discrediting Romeka, if they coordinated a video campaign to destroy her credibility, if they filed legal orders to keep her at a distance, that's not reacting to sudden danger. That's planning. Q calls that morning the final confrontation. Not the first time they'd clashed, not unexpected. Final, meaning they knew it was coming. They had time to think, time to prepare. And if that's true, did Holly really have no other option but to shoot? The prosecution will use this if they can back it up. If they verify Q's claims, if they prove coordination, if they recover that missing phone, Holly's entire defense starts to crumble.
Okay, could see so.
Through all of this, Carlos has stayed mostly quiet. He posted a tribute to Romeka on New Year's Day, said he missed her, called their son a mama's boy, but he hasn't addressed the allegations about his private life. He hasn't explained why he was allegedly at the scene, and he hasn't said a word about what was on his phone. That's his right. He doesn't owe the internet an explanation, but his silence is deafening, especially when people like Q are going live and naming him directly in connection with Romeka's death. If someone accused you of coordinating a cover-up that led to the mother of your child being killed, wouldn't you defend yourself? Wouldn't you at least deny it? Maybe his lawyer told him to stay quiet. Maybe he's protecting himself from legal exposure. Or maybe there's truth to what Q is saying, and silence is the safest move he can make right now. So where does this leave us? Holly's attorney just filed a new motion asking for her release from jail pending trial. That motion is under review right now. If the court denies it, she'll probably appeal. We could see a decision within weeks. Meanwhile, investigators are still building their case. If Q's allegations have any weight, they'll be looking for proof. Phone records showing coordination. Statements from the other 7 people Q says were involved. Forensic analysis of those videos to see if they really were edited the way he claims. This case is moving, and I'm staying on it. Every motion filed, every hearing scheduled, every new piece of evidence that surfaces. Because Romeka Meeks deserves the truth. Her son deserves to know what really happened to his mother. And this community has been demanding answers since day one. If what Q is saying is true, this wasn't just a confrontation that went bad. This was a woman silenced for what she knew, and the proof she died protecting might still be out there. I'm going to keep digging, but I need you to stay with me. Drop a comment and let me know if you believe Q's story. Hit subscribe so you're here when the next piece of this case breaks.
Wow.
Because when it does, you're going to want to know. And if you've made it this far, if you sat through this entire breakdown because you believe Romeka's life mattered, leave a comment that says, "Justice for Romeka."
Justice for Romeka. He said Romeka got on my nerves throughout that video. Y'all, oh my goodness. Woo. Look, it's one of those moments where I just have to fall back. Woo! This is a lot. And you know what? Because if someone just said it up here, I think, let's see, who was it? Black Paris, I think you may be onto something with this part. I think it would be less about the alleged download activities than the other activities. Okay. The other activities, because the reason I say that is because Q was mentioning that Friday about certain people. Okay, if Carlos isn't protected, the whole little thing goes down. Y'all got to read between the lines. This could affect a lot of people, money, and so forth. Okay, I think it's more so about an organization and things that have been taking place, y'all. Thank you, Tay Tay. Okay, I think it's more so of the that part that I don't even like talking too much on. But y'all, this thing here, it's y'all remember the what was it called? You know, the little guy that had the mask on, and they had a name for it. He wore the black mask, and he would expose things. Do y'all know what was the name of that guy? Y'all make sure you tap that like. Let's try to get 50 more likes, 50 more likes if you can. What was the name? And he would expose things. And he had the big funny face. February 3rd, her next court date. Yes, that's February 3rd. Yes, thank you so much. So you think it's both, Francine? Okay. Ramika was a fly baddie, period. Come on now. What was his name? I cannot think of. They had a name for him, but baby, that's what this guy. He reminds me of Hollywood face in that white jacket. She looks like she have a diaper rash on her face. You silly. Maybe no A be doing her hair or her grandma since she grandma's baby. Definitely a lot, but very necessary. You're doing so well with the story. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you so much, sis. I appreciate that. I really do. Romika was with that man before he even got money. You can tell from their photos. She knew the business. She knew the layout. She knew everything. I wouldn't put it past them. Oh yeah, you know she knew a lot. Yes. Thank you, Raynell. Yes. The anonymous guy. Do y'all remember that anonymous guy? He would do this type of thing. What's his name? Zorro? He would do this type of thing. This is what this video reminded me of. Okay. And you never know who was behind that face, that man. But he was even exposing at one time there was a cheating website company. Baby, they exposed the names of these people, and some of them were high profile people up in there, and they exposed them in their cheating. Okay. So you never know what's gonna come out, but he summarized all of it. I was like, in real audio too. We never know what real audio or hey, video pops up. Okay. Hi, Regina. Welcome. Yeah, she was there since the beginning. I believe Holly was also trying to use that TPO to keep Romika away from Carlos as well. Holly was going to try to be in Carlos's face all the time, so he couldn't be around Romika or her son. His name was Anonymous. Yes, come through. Thank you, Aisha. Anonymous, come through. Okay, that's gonna be my new name for this guy. And y'all, I'm not gonna play it on this live, but there's another one. Okay, another Anonymous, baby. He broke it down on this video too. But I know sometimes people's, attention span kind of, y'all want to watch back-to-back videos. Now, if y'all want to, hey, I'm down for it. But this one starts off going into the lyrics like Carlos was pretty much talking about what he would one day do. And I think even Cole Piece touched on this when she was talking about his lyrics one day. Hey, honey drip. But then, y'all, it goes into the psyche of Carlos. Baby, they break him down. I was like, wait a minute. I had not heard it like this before. Whoever Anonymous is, not Carlos. Anonymous is coming for you. Okay. This is back-to-back videos, y'all. It's no joke. My mouth dropped on the other video. That's the one I was gonna play for y'all. Okay. Now somebody said, let's go on Sunday night. Hey, I don't care. I will see her because it's so good. Y'all, that's the one I was gonna play for y'all. But then I had hit up my Facebook, kind of was scrolling through there, and I said, well, what's this video that Neek shared? Because if her sister is sharing the child, let me see what it is. And I didn't look, it didn't look like one of the content creators' videos that are over here on YouTube. So I clicked on it and I said, wait a minute, what is this? And they had Q's name. So I didn't even hear the whole thing because I didn't go through the whole video. I said, oh no, I want to show this one. But baby, this other video too talks about the lyrics as well. Okay, Barbara wants to see it too. He was telling both girls what each other was doing. He was fueling them both up, but he knew Holly was the more vicious one mentally. Oh, come on now. You better say that, Francine. Okay, that is so true. I'm learning the subscriber and likes, but I'm here for Ramika from Detroit. Thank you so much, Regina. I appreciate the support. All right, Shani said, let's go. Okay, hey, it's right here too. I didn't even close it. Baby, this thing, they broke him down. They coming for Carlos. They said, Carlos, you up next. Now, I don't know who Anonymous is, but baby, they calling you out. Okay, this video shocked me. They broke him down, his whole psyche and everything. And like I said, this is allegedly, but it's so good. Okay, it's so to the T. Okay, shout out to Anonymous. That's my new name. Okay, this is my new name for him. Anonymous. Come on, let's go.
With my rifle, nigga, that's simple. She calling me psycho. The bitch leave me, I'ma shoot her with my rifle. She call.
Witnesses saying what they saw, but you were there. What's your reaction to what you heard came out in court today?
When I heard it, I'm just looking. It was unbelievable, but I was there, and I know for a fact none of that happened. How they just explained it, but my truth will get out here, and I hope everybody understand. That's really it. I can't even say too much right now. Because it's just gonna feel like I'm going against them, they going against me. We just going back and forth. But the truth is gonna come out.
I load it, I aim it, I shoot twice. 7 words. That's all it took for Carlos to tell the world exactly what he was going to do to Rebecca Meeks. 7 words that weren't a metaphor, weren't artistic expression, weren't some abstract concept about life or struggle. They were instructions, a blueprint, a confession recorded before the crime ever happened. When Carlos stepped into that recording booth, when he laid down that track, when he titled it and released it and dedicated it specifically to Rebecca,
Wow.
he wasn't writing fiction. He was documenting his intentions with the casual confidence of a man who believed no one would ever take him seriously. And he was right. The song dropped. People listened. They nodded their heads to the beat. They streamed it. They played it at parties. Some people even laughed. Because that's what we do with violent lyrics, isn't it? We consume them as entertainment. We separate the art from the artist. We tell ourselves that words don't really mean anything. But Carlos meant every single word. I load it. Preparation, the gathering of tools, of resolve, of opportunity. I aim it. Selection, choosing the target, focusing all that rage, all that narcissistic injury, all that wounded pride on one person. I shoot twice. Execution. Not once. Because once might be passion, might be impulse, might be a moment of lost control. But twice is making sure. Twice is intention. Twice is murder. The lyrics weren't buried in the middle of some album track that you'd have to search for. They were the title, the hook, the entire point of the song. And Carlos didn't just record it and hide it away. He performed it. Publicly, at gatherings, at parties, online. He shared it with the world. With Rebecca's friends, with anyone who would listen. He hummed his violent fantasies until they felt natural, until they stopped being fantasies and started being plans, until the distance between imagination and action collapsed completely. This wasn't a moment of inspiration. This wasn't artistic expression. This was rehearsal. This was a man desensitizing himself to his own capacity for violence by saying it out loud, over and over again, until the words stopped shocking even him. And the most terrifying part? His demeanor when he performed it. Not angry, not spiraling, not caught up in some emotional storm that might blow over. He was calm, relaxed, almost satisfied. This was a settled decision. This was a man who had already made up his mind and was simply waiting for the right moment to act. There's a psychological principle that most people don't understand about violence. We think of it as spontaneous, as something that erupts in a moment of passion or rage. We imagine perpetrators as people who lose control, who snap, who act without thinking. But premeditated violence is a process. It's a series of small steps that take you from fantasy to reality. And one of the most crucial steps in that process is rehearsal, the act of practicing violence either physically or verbally until it no longer feels forbidden, until it feels possible, until it feels inevitable.
Y'all, think about that thing, the practice part. See, it escalates. It goes from cussing somebody out, the verbal abuse, to, okay, you let me do that, you stay around, okay. Then it goes to the physical abuse, okay. And it got to the point where she was now afraid of being fought on. Like, this is how it started escalating, okay. But then if you think about it, even in the video that we were talking about earlier with the wood that she had, she said, I don't even F with you anyway, okay. She was saying, how long does it take for a girl's baby daddy to move on? She had already moved on. See, he was losing control. He was losing the control to keep her in that grip that he had to do what he felt like he could continue to do and escalate. So the more it escalated in his mind, okay, the more he became desensitized to it. That, oh, it's no longer my baby mama. Which would mean if he was out there that day, holding her, gripping her in a restraint, he had already lost the sensitivity that, man, how dare me not tell Holly, put your gun away. What you doing? This is my baby mama. How dare me? I got to hold her. I got to restrain her. Why didn't he let her go? It had escalated in his mind. And I never thought about this till this video.
Carlos rehearsed constantly. Every time he performed that song, he was practicing murder. Every time he rapped those lyrics with that calm, settled energy, he was normalizing the idea of killing Romeka. Every time someone listened and didn't react with horror, didn't call the police, didn't take him seriously, he received confirmation that he could say these things out loud and face no consequences. He told us exactly how he handles problems. He told us his method. He told us his target. He gave us everything we needed to understand that Romeka Meeks was in danger. Forensic psychologists have studied this pattern in countless cases. Perpetrators who announce their intentions before acting. Killers who write manifestos, who post threats online, who tell friends and family what they're planning to do. And time, again, those warnings are dismissed. Because surely no one would actually announce a real crime, right? Surely if someone was serious about violence, they'd keep it secret. But narcissists don't work that way. Carlos didn't want to kill Romeka in silence. He wanted the world to know. He wanted witnesses. He wanted his violence to be seen, to be acknowledged, to cement his image as someone you don't cross, someone who follows through, someone dangerous. The repetition wasn't accidental. It was strategic. He played that song at gatherings where Romeka's friends were present. He posted it online where she could see it. He made sure the message reached her, reached everyone around her, reached anyone who might have considered intervening. And the message was clear. I'm going to kill her. I've already decided. I'm just telling you so you know what's coming. When forensic linguists analyze violent threats, they look for specific markers. They look at verb tense. Is the threat presented as a possibility or as a certainty? They look at detail. How specific is the threat? They look at repetition. Is this a one-time outburst or a sustained pattern? Carlos's song hit every single marker for credible, premeditated threat. Present tense verbs, specific detailed actions, and constant, unrelenting repetition. He wasn't fantasizing, he wasn't venting, he wasn't using hyperbole to express frustration. He was rehearsing. And every performance brought him closer to the moment when the lyrics would become reality. At what point does a song become evidence? At what point does artistic expression cross the line into criminal conspiracy? These are questions that make people uncomfortable because we want to believe in the sanctity of creative freedom. We don't want to live in a world where lyrics can get you arrested. But what about a world where lyrics can get you killed? Because that's the world Romeka Meeks lived in. A world where her ex-boyfriend dedicated a song about murdering her, performed it publicly, and faced no consequences until it was too late. There's a line in the story of Carlos and Romeka that reveals everything you need to know about how his mind worked. A line that exposes not just his intentions, but his strategy. He wanted blood without holding the blade. Think about what that means. Think about the consciousness, the calculation, the sheer cold-blooded planning required to approach violence that way. This wasn't a man who wanted to act in the heat of passion. This wasn't someone who might lose control and lash out in a moment of rage. This was someone who wanted the result, Romeka's death, but who wanted to distance himself from the act itself. This was someone who understood consequences and was actively working to avoid them. The psychology behind proxy violence is fascinating and terrifying in equal measure. It requires a level of manipulation that most people simply aren't capable of. You have to be able to identify vulnerable people who can be influenced. You have to plant seeds of resentment or obligation or fear. You have to create a narrative that makes...
Now, y'all clock that, okay? You have to be able to plant seeds with vulnerable people. People you feel like they'll listen to anything you say, okay? They'll do anything you want them to do. Okay, so he knew Holly was the perfect person. But once she was that pick-me girl mentality, she had that. She had his baby, okay? And my thing is, we still don't know what all he would tell each of these women. He was the man in the middle that could potentially manipulate a situation. Tay said, I believe there is more that Carlos is going to lose than being called out for being gay. Romeka was going to take him to court for child support. The court would have wanted to see his income. And that too. That was coming up too, allegedly. Him taking care of his son. Remember, in that August 20th, which was only a couple of weeks prior to September the 8th, that post, she said, I'm about to start eating you up. Because he was saying he was going to do one thing for his son. He wasn't doing it. This was according to her post. Okay? So between that span of time, what happened? So you got to go back, not just looking at September the 8th. What led up to September the 8th? And then with Holly, not just looking at September the 8th. Hers goes way back to 2024. Okay, in her mind, all of this planning, looking and talking to different people, and it was a lot. That's a lot. Thank you, Jacqueline. Shout out to you. That's a lot. Okay. Let's see. He planted all them seeds into Holly. Right, Rhonda? Okay, not taking away her level of accountability, but I do feel like, and Kobe's touched on this as well, that there is going to be something coming up soon. Okay, he's not going to get away scot-free. I believe she is going to start talking more and more. And the more she starts talking, it is going to become clearer, okay, what was being said behind the scenes leading up to that day.
Violence seemed justified, necessary, or inevitable. And you have to do all of this while maintaining plausible deniability. Carlos excelled at this. He didn't just wake up one day and decide to orchestrate Romeka's murder. He built toward it systematically. He recruited allies, people who shared his worldview, who validated his grievances, who saw Romeka as an obstacle rather than as a human being. He created a social environment where violence against her became normalized, even celebrated, and he made sure his hands stayed clean. From an investigative standpoint, proxy violence is one of the most difficult crimes to prosecute. Because how do you prove that someone orchestrated a murder without...
Just a side note right there, right quick, the Tara Reader Mara last year, we were talking about that. That was one thing she brought out, that she was saying, Romeka was saying that Carlos would tell her that he would one day do that and his hands would be clean. This is echoing in this video. But the ironic part of that is your hands were not clean, buddy. Not spiritually that day in the spirit realm or physically. We saw blood all over your hands and blood all over Holly's hands as well. Okay, so her blood was still on your hands, unfortunately.
Direct physical evidence. How do you connect the dots between someone's words and another person's actions? You look at patterns. You examine digital communications, text messages, social media posts, recorded conversations. You map out relationships and timelines. You analyze who said what to whom and when. You build a circumstantial case that demonstrates not just desire, but active planning and recruitment. In Carlos's case, the evidence was everywhere.
Thank you, Lakeisha.
Messages where he spoke about wanting Romeka gone. Conversations where he tested people's loyalty, their willingness to act on his behalf. Social media posts that painted Romeka as deserving of whatever happened to her. He was building a network, creating a structure where violence could occur through intermediaries while he maintained distance and deniability. This is the mark of a sophisticated, calculating mind. This isn't impulsive. This isn't emotional. This is strategic, and it reveals something crucial about Carlos's personality. Narcissists often engage in what psychologists call narcissistic rage, an explosive, disproportionate anger triggered by perceived insults or rejections. But Carlos's approach was different. His rage was cold, controlled, methodical. He didn't want to kill Romeka in a moment of passion and then face the consequences. He wanted to kill her and get away with it. He wanted to win. He wanted to demonstrate his power and superiority while remaining untouchable. Blood without the blade. The result without the risk. Here's something most people don't understand about domestic homicide. The murder itself is often the final act in a much longer campaign of destruction. Before the physical violence reaches its lethal conclusion, there's typically a sustained pattern of psychological, emotional, financial, and social abuse designed to isolate the victim and undermine their credibility. Carlos understood this instinctively. He wanted Romeka's money shaky. He wanted her reputation dirty. And he wanted these things accomplished before she died. Because when a woman with financial problems and a damaged reputation turns up dead, people ask fewer questions. They're more likely to believe she was involved in something dangerous, that she brought it on herself, that her death was somehow inevitable given the mess her life had become. This is victim blaming as premeditation. This is character assassination as murder prep. Carlos's campaign against Romeka's livelihood was systematic and sophisticated. He didn't just want her to struggle financially. He wanted her financial instability to be visible.
And you know what? Something else that just came to me that Q, if you don't mind me saying this, he had shared it. I think he was on a panel or something where you were talking to Carlos that day. And you said you had me around for protection. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. But it was like he always keeps a person around as this layer of protection. Okay. So that his hands do not have to get dirty. So that he does not have to be the one to get into trouble. Hence the videos that were being shared, okay, they weren't coming directly from him, but where were the videos coming from? Some of those videos would have only have been in his phone. Okay, so that is very what this person said. This Mr. Anonymous, he said, yes, I can gather that.
Public, humiliating. He interfered with her work opportunities. He spread rumors that damaged her professional reputation. He created situations that made her appear unreliable, unstable, difficult to work with. Every attack on her income wasn't just about causing immediate hardship. It was about building a narrative that would survive her death. And the reputation destruction was even more insidious. Carlos spread lies through mutual friends. He manipulated social situations to make Romeka look dramatic, emotional, unhinged. He took private moments, vulnerable conversations, emotional responses to his abuse, and weaponized them publicly, stripping away context to make her appear unstable. He
Ooh, clock this, OG Patrice. Thank you for bringing that up. She said, remember Carlos said he told his sister that was helping Romeka that he wanted Romeka to need him. So he stopped helping her. That's financial abuse. Say that. And that came out of his mouth when he was on a phone call. Okay? Those types of games so that you could need me. So that's another level of control. And and Q said he don't do work. He get people to do it right. And also something else that Q has shared was he liked to take clothes back. I was like, what? Okay, being out here fronting and stunting. Oh, I like that. Fronting and stunting. Okay. But then quick to leave the tags on allegedly. Okay. And then take it back to the store. Yeah, he was, but he found out when he got caught with that gun. I was with him. I wasn't taking the charge. Q said, Q said, look, I ain't going down for you. I'll try to help you as much as possible, but I'm not taking a charge for you. Okay. Wow. Is he a Freemason? Oh, I don't know. Child, I have no idea. Right. Okay. Thank you, spilling the grits. Yes, definitely. And hey, I've been making that comparison right there for a while. That's what it seems like. Okay, they feel like they are untouchable after a while, that they don't get caught. Other people will go down before they do. Y'all silly talking about the yeast infection. Holly should feel stupid hearing him say he wanted Ramika's attention and wanted her to lead him, even cutting his son off to achieve this. Yes, I could not believe that. Okay. I got a good memory.
posted about her online. He made sure their mutual community heard his version of events first, loudest, and most often. He positioned himself as the victim of her alleged instability, while simultaneously being the architect of her destruction. Why do abusers do this? Why invest so much time and energy into destroying someone's reputation? Because it works. When Romeka died, Carlos needed people to think, well, she was already struggling. She was already in a bad place. Maybe this was inevitable. He needed doubt. He needed people to question whether she might have been involved in something dangerous, whether she made bad choices, whether she was somehow complicit in her own death, was writing the story of her murder before it even happened. And he was making sure that in that story, she was the problem. She was the mess. She was already falling apart. This is what forensic psychologists call reputation management in the context of intimate partner violence. The abuser systematically destroys the victim's credibility, so that if the victim reports abuse, seeks help, or ends up dead, their word carries less weight than the abuser's. From an investigative perspective, this pattern is actually evidence of premeditation. Because why would someone invest?
And if y'all think about it, he is witness number one. The only people left out there, besides the other witnesses that decided to come forward, were Carlos and Holly. Okay, Romeka is not here to share her side of this story and what went down, unfortunately. Okay, now you mean to tell me we gonna trust his word as a whole witness? Witness number one? We're supposed to trust his word. After on most videos we've seen, Romika is telling us how much he lies. That on 2 interviews we've seen, he was not even able to put together a complete sentence, a complete thought, or to share any type of details. Okay, so I wouldn't trust it. Why would we trust his word? He was trying to make her look a certain type of way already. So if she did speak up, people would say, "Oh no, she's lying." Like, look at the mugshot picture, okay? And his account of the events was, "Oh, she fell into a wall. The wall did that." What? So if the wall bruised one eye, how come the wall did not bruise the other eye? I would not have even opened my mouth to say that. Okay, it didn't even make sense. So someone that's documented as a person that would hit someone and give them a black eye like that, we're supposed to believe that day you were protecting her, right, Barbara? I mean, if you think about it. Let's see. Kopi said, "I told y'all on Instagram, Meeks had people reaching out to her for her looks professionally. He was jealous, so he been trying to rap all his life and couldn't get nobody to notice him." Right. And even now, with the attention that's on him, nobody is bringing up his music unless it's in this particular manner of the lyrics. Okay. But no one is saying, even with the little 3 minutes of fame of those 2 interviews, no one's saying, "Oh my gosh, he's a rapper. Where can I find that music?" Who's saying that? Who's saying that? Every time he logs into YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, he is seeing Romika still. Okay, he's seeing her picture everywhere. People are still talking about her in a good way, in a way that's probably bothering him. You said, "Hey, Angel," she said, "a creepy Carlos is allowed to talk. His goofy ass tells on himself. His narc ass thinks he is correct in the abuse things he was doing. A true liar and narc." Okay, like seriously. Let's see. Masonic order is seen and not heard. Trust and believe he needs to stop claiming that. Wow. I'm telling you. We can't, I know I don't believe it whatsoever.
Months or years into destroying another person's reputation, unless they were planning something that required that person to be discredited. Carlos wasn't just angry at Romeka. He wasn't just hurt by their breakup. He was planning ahead. He was creating the conditions under which her murder would raise the least alarm, generate the least sympathy, and result in the least scrutiny. He wanted her money shaky so people would think she was desperate, involved in risky situations, possibly targeted by dangerous people she owed money to. He wanted her reputation dirty so people would think she brought this on herself, that she wasn't really a victim, that she was messy, and therefore less worthy of justice. This is the psychology of a predator who thinks several moves ahead, who understands that public perception matters, who knows that the story told after a murder can be almost as important as the murder itself. There's a specific kind of domestic violence that doesn't show up in photographs, that doesn't leave the kind of evidence you can present to police officers or judges, that doesn't generate the sympathy that visible injuries might. It's called strategic abuse. The phrase timing marks refers to injuries deliberately inflicted in ways that minimize visible bruising. An abuser who understands human physiology, or who has learned through trial and error, can cause significant pain and injury without leaving the telltale marks that would serve as evidence. They know where to hit so that bruises don't form, or form in places that aren't easily visible. They know how much force to use to cause pain without breaking skin. They understand timing, how long it takes for different types of injuries to heal, and how to space out violence so that no single incident leaves lasting visible evidence.
Wow.
This requires control. This requires consciousness. This requires someone who is thinking clearly about the consequences of their actions even in the moment of violence. Carlos didn't hit Romeka in blind rage. He hit her with calculation. He hurt her in ways that wouldn't show up in photographs. He made sure that if she went to the police, if she showed her arms to friends, If she tried to prove what he was doing to her, the evidence would be minimal or ambiguous. This is premeditation in physical form. From a forensic perspective, timing marks and strategic abuse are actually more concerning than obviously violent attacks, because they demonstrate that the abuser is in control. They're not losing their temper. They're not acting impulsively. They're thinking about evidence. They're thinking about consequences. They're thinking about how to hurt someone while minimizing the risk of being caught. And that's exactly the mindset of someone capable of murder. Medical professionals who specialize in domestic violence can sometimes identify patterns of strategic abuse, even when visible injuries are minimal. They look for injuries in unusual locations. They look for patterns that don't match the victim's explanation. They look for defensive wounds, or the absence of defensive wounds in situations where they should be present. In Romeka's case, the timing marks told a story. They told of an abuser who was sophisticated enough to control his violence, who understood that visible bruises could be used against him, who wanted to hurt her without creating evidence that could be weaponized. This is the violence of someone who plans ahead, and it raises a crucial question. If Carlos was controlled enough to strategically manage his physical abuse, was he also controlled enough to plan Romeka's murder?
I did hear that, Jacqueline. I'm not sure how true it is, but I did hear that. Hi, George. Welcome. Shout out to Lakeisha for the super sticker and for being a sponsor for tonight's live. Thank you so much. Hey, Ashley. Now, y'all think about this too. This was supposed to have been over. Okay, September 8th, in his mind, this was over. Mission accomplished. He could have ran with whatever story he wanted to tell, which he tried it. He tried it. He tried to tell the family one thing happened. He even said to Romeka's mom, this is all my fault with that false humility mess. I truly believe he was probably the one sending her the picture. Because remember, she said her and Romeka talked every morning. And that morning, she had not spoken to her. She received a text message with Romeka's body there on the ground. No mother should receive news like that through a text message. Okay? And what were you saying was your fault? The next thing that shows he thought this was going to be over was the fact that he went straight to his social media and he posted, this is the worst day of my life. Once again, more false humility. Okay, so people can say, what happened? What happened? Oh, this would have been his cue. Him and Holly had probably already discussed their stories. See, there were probably these witnesses. Nobody was supposed to say anything. Nobody was supposed to go on Gigi's panel and tell what they saw. Nobody was supposed to be passing around a video that went viral. Him and Holly were going to come up with the story of you had this restraining order against Romeka. She pulled up. She was trying to fight you. You know, hey, it's my fault because I'm both of their babies' daddies. They were trying to fight over me. Okay. Romeka come up angry, mad, because y'all know how Romeka play and how she all over my A. That's what he wanted people to believe. So Holly had to protect herself. She had to get her weapon. Romeka was trying to get at her, fight her, take her and her baby out. So she had to unalive her. It was supposed to have been case closed at that point. Little did he know that people were not crazy and that people were going to start questioning like, what? Oh, and even more so in his mind, he thought this was over. Holly got out of jail. She was released. Bam. It's really over now, right? Wrong. It was not over. Because that witness, not only did the video go around, y'all, and it made him take down his page, but then when the witness went onto Gigi's panel, Shout out to criminal villains. This kept life into Romika's case, y'all. Then content creators started breaking that statement down, looking deeper into it, as the state obviously were still building their case and looking into this. Now, at first they said it wasn't enough evidence, but it was more evidence than they thought. He thought he had gotten away scot-free with this, him and Holly. This not just a him thing, it's a Holly thing too. Okay? It's a Holly thing too. Now we caught off guard because now we got a video out here. We got her standing here on the car. Romika is now on this ground, trying to stay here, trying to just fight, right? So now in this moment, we're now looking into the time on the videos. Now we're getting more of a scene of what was taking place there. Holly is like, well, the plan was I got my license to carry and I got the restraining order, right? He like, wrong, girl. You gotta tell him self-defense. You can't just take people out of here because you have a license to carry and a restraining order. So he was the one that gave her self-defense, but she forgot her acting skills. Okay, she forgot to put on like it was really self-defense. So then that made people question even more. Like, wait a second. This girl is saying self-defense. She doesn't look like it's any self-defense because now we can see her face. It's not just to hear the story. So this should have been over with, y'all, in their minds back when they left. She went to jail and she got out. Nobody was supposed to have been talking about this. It was supposed to have been case closed. Chicago does not rearrest people. Chicago, they don't look into cases, okay, until this case, okay? And Chicago is trying to do the right thing. They're trying to do the right thing and really look into this case. Let's see, Black Paris said, before the content creators, there was Q, and he opened up the door to show us that her death was being manipulated to show the content creators that they needed to continue to investigate. Now, Q, what he was doing, I did not agree with. That was, to me, opening up, well, I would say this. It did spark a, why is this guy, at the time we didn't know who he was, showing all of these videos that were one-sided videos about Romika looking angry, going off and all of this stuff. Like, what is that about? People started wondering, well, who is sending him? Because he's saying he hasn't talked to Carlos. So how is he getting all of these videos about Romika? And what's your point of putting that out? That actually, it was a little red flag too, that helped content creators look a little further into that as well. Well, what is going on here? Okay, why are you trying to make her look bad so bad? Okay, you're really, really trying for a reason to discredit her, but she's not on trial. So what is all of that about? So then, y'all, all of that. So over the course of those months, it wasn't quiet. Okay, it was not quiet over the course of those months after September the 8th. But we literally were not supposed to be here. In their minds, this was supposed to have been over with. I think Romika was trying to tell us that she was in trouble. She was letting us know she was scared. I can assure you that she was getting death threats before September the 8th. Clock that. Okay? Sending her family messages saying, I'm tired of being scared. Okay? Showing pictures. That was a video of him there. The post on Facebook that she was posting. That was another thing. And also, now I know her aunt said she always made sweet posts to her son. And I have seen another post to her son. But I guess the timing of this particular post to her son, how that was right before she was unalive also makes me think that that was a clue that she was putting out there, that something was not right. It could have been a feeling she had that something was coming up. Yeah, it's not over until pink pigs fly. Right, spilling the grits. Okay. Carlos went on the news again looking like a fool. Right. Hey, Simply Neat, I'm telling you, they thought it was over. The letter that she wrote her son, the date her demise lets you know she felt in her spirit. She felt some. I agree. Yep. Mm-hmm. And also, for those of you who have not heard, Q did share Friday that he apologized to Miss Tina and Romika's sister, one of her sisters, on Friday. Now, we know that's a process, okay, um, because of what took place in the beginning and so forth. But Miss Tina, y'all, she is truly a woman of God. It takes God's strength in you for you to be so forgiving of people. And just hearing her voice, it just seems like she has that comforting voice. And so I'm glad that they had a chance to have a conversation on both parts. I know that that probably kind of helped in some ways that they finally talked, but he did share that he had a chance to apologize to Romika's mom for what he did in the beginning with those videos and her sister.
Was the escalation from strategic abuse to homicide really an escalation at all? Or was it the logical conclusion of a man who had always been capable of calculated violence? The evidence suggests the latter. Romeka tried to document what was happening to her. She confided in friends. She took photographs when injuries were visible. She kept records of Carlos's threats and abuse. She did everything that victims are told to do to protect themselves. But strategic abuse is designed to undermine exactly those efforts. When your injuries aren't visible, when your abuser is careful to hurt you in ways that don't leave lasting marks, when he positions himself as calm and reasonable while portraying you as hysterical and dramatic, how do you prove what's happening? How do you make people believe you? This is the particular cruelty of strategic abuse. It's gaslighting made physical. It's violence that comes with built-in deniability. It's abuse that makes the victim question their own perception of reality. And for Carlos, it was preparation, training, practice for the ultimate act of violence that he'd already announced in his song. Holly entered the picture with a calculation of her own. If one woman disappears, everything lines up. Let that sink in for a moment. Not if their relationship ends, not if they break up, not even if something happens to her. If one woman disappears. The language matters, because disappearance implies permanence. It implies removal from the picture entirely. It implies a solution that doesn't involve coexistence, negotiation, or shared space in Carlos's life. It implies death. Holly knew about Carlos's abuse toward Romeka. She knew about the violence, the threats, the song. She had access to the same information that everyone else had. Carlos told anyone who would listen about his grievances against Romeka. He performed that song publicly. He made no secret of his hatred, his desire for revenge, his belief that Romeka deserved whatever happened to her. And Holly still chose to stand next to that energy. More than that, she aligned herself with it. She mirrored it. She validated it. From a psychological perspective, Holly represents a particular type of complicity that's both common and deeply troubling in cases of intimate partner violence. She's what researchers call an aligned partner, someone who enters a relationship with an abuser after the primary abuse has begun, who witnesses or learns about the abuse, and who chooses to support the abuser rather than the victim. The motivations for this alignment vary. Sometimes it's denial. The new partner convinces themselves that the victim deserved the treatment they received, or that the abuser is different with them. Sometimes it's competition. The new partner sees the victim as a rival and wants them removed from the picture. Sometimes it's shared pathology. Two people with similar personality disorders finding each other and validating each other's worst impulses. In Holly's case, it appears to be all three. She craved attention just like Carlos did. She needed validation from external sources just like Carlos did. She saw relationships as competitions to be won rather than connections between equals, just like Carlos did. And crucially, she saw Romeka not as Carlos's abuse victim, but as an obstacle to her own happiness. The statement, "If one woman disappears, everything lines up," reveals her mindset perfectly.
I don't think so. In my opinion, I don't think so. However, I could be wrong. I I don't know if they spent enough time together like that. Um, I don't know. That's a good question. Y'all tell me your thoughts. Leopard Luggage Travel had very good question. I feel that if he has, she's not going to talk about it. Hence her I would never videos. I think she would cover up for him. Romika had people that she felt that she could confide in my opinion, but not all of them were on her side. I'm gonna be honest. That's just my opinion. I feel that she possibly had some people who were the double agents that she would confide in, thought had her back, and they were talking about her and plotting behind her back and sharing things with Holly. Whereas with Holly, I don't think she was sharing uh, a lot of information with other people. So if he had done that, I don't know if she had shared it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but maybe he hadn't had a chance yet with her. What do y'all think, Copies? What you think about that? Yes, God definitely don't make any mistakes, right? Okay, let's see what y'all saying. You think so, Philly Girl Juice? DeMarcus' mom said Carlos' family has no pictures with Holly. They don't like her. Okay, child. He barely has pictures. I think he did, and she took it thinking that thinking that was his sign of love. Mm. I do not know if he would like. Okay, y'all talking about something else. No, they haven't been together that long, but they've been together long enough. I don't think they spent a lot of time together. She'll use it in court when she has no way out to say he made her do it because she was scared of him. Okay, that's a good point. It is what it is. Said I don't think so. I think I heard something to the effect that she was kind of, looking like she was crying or something, and the lawyer was kind of rubbing her back. I don't know how true that is. Cold Piece was there. I think he did abuse her, but I also think that if her connections in high places is true, maybe he thought twice. That's good, honey drip. Okay. He was violent to the both of them. If the both of them told each other the last time they were with him, he would abuse whoever snitched on him. And you know what? I've wondered if they had had a real conversation, her and Romika, okay? If they had come to Jesus, and I think they I don't want to mix up the story, so I'm just not going to go into it. But I think I heard something like this on Q's Live when he was talking about this. But if they had a real, or the young lady that was on there talking to him brought it up, had a real conversation about what Carlos had told both of them, they would have probably seen that they were both being played. That he was telling each other, both of these women, things about the other. And it caused this type of friction between them and dislike. And they hadn't even been around each other like that. Okay? To know each other like that. And then on top of him, you got other women probably in the mix, mutual friends that's sharing stuff. Maybe she never gives him any pushback. Yep, you're right about that. That's true. We're going to find out that Holly been crazy, jealous, and vindictive her entire life. Every time I see her mugshot, I think of the movie The Bad Seed. I haven't seen that one. Hey, nothing but the truth. I think he maybe showed her that side, but never got physical yet. Holly looked like the type to listen to his command. I do agree with that. He definitely went upside her head when she called and told Ro that Ro was in the closet. You think so? They was lying in the bed on the video. She looked like she had a black. I do remember you saying that. She looked like she had a black eye. Wow. Never thought about that. She looks like she had a black eye on there. Y'all can have some. Wow. She's a sociopath. She doesn't have the capacity to think rationally. Ooh, woo. Man, y'all have some good answers. Katisa said, can you replay that little clip with Holly again? I got a question about it. Which one, Katisa? I thought I heard him say that he and Holly were not together. I haven't heard him doing that too. He didn't want that open. Okay. I've never really heard him claim her like that, like they were in a relationship on any of his posts or videos or anything like that. Like, I think it was just that they had a baby, they had had sex, and she had gotten pregnant. And now here they go again. You know, like, at what point are you going to use protection of some sort? Okay, that's something to think about.
Romeka wasn't a person with her own life, her own rights, her own inherent value. She was a problem. A complication. An inconvenience standing between Holly and the life she wanted. And if that problem were to simply cease to exist, well, then everything would be perfect. This is moral disengagement taken to its extreme. This is the moment when someone stops seeing another human being as human and starts seeing them as an obstacle to be removed. Holly's public displays of loyalty to Carlos weren't just about supporting her partner. They were strategic. Every post defending him, every appearance by his side,
Was it this part?
3. She craved attention just like Carlos did. She needed validation from external sources just like Carlos did. She saw relationships as competitions to be won rather than connections between equals, just like Carlos did. And crucially, she saw Romeka not as Carlos's abuse victim, but as an obstacle to her own happiness.
Good point, Philly girl.
The statement, if one woman disappears, everything lines up, reveals her mindset perfectly. Romeka wasn't a person with her own life, her own rights, her own inherent value. She was a problem, a complication, an inconvenience standing between Holly and the life she wanted. And if that problem were to simply cease to exist, well, then everything would be perfect. This is moral disengagement taken to its extreme. This is the moment when someone stops seeing another human being as human and starts seeing them as an obstacle to be removed. Holly's public displays of loyalty to Carlos weren't just about supporting her partner.
Okay.
They were
I'll go
strategic.
back,
Every post defending
at the
him,
end.
every appearance by his side, every moment of publicly choosing him over concern for Romeka, these things sent a message. To Carlos, I'm with you. I support you. I won't question you. To Romeka, you've been replaced. You're not wanted. No one's coming to help you. To their mutual community, this is the version of events you should believe. Carlos is the victim. Romeka is the problem. From an investigative standpoint, aligned partners often play crucial roles in domestic homicides. Sometimes they're accessories, actively helping plan or execute the murder.
Okay.
Sometimes
Also,
they're accomplices.
before I continue on this part, there was something that came out recently too, where it talked about, they were talking about how Romeka's family, they were bringing it out on another content creators live, D Brown and Carlos talking about her family didn't want to help her, and the aunt, Romeka's aunt, said that's not true. Okay, sometimes some family, if they know that you're in a relationship with someone, or that y'all, you know, they don't want to get involved, because they probably would have what happened that day, okay, at court, would have probably have been happened. Okay. Okay. So sometimes if he felt, oh, your family not gonna even help you, or I'm not gonna give you no money or anything like that. It's to isolate and to make them feel a certain type of way so that they can do what they want to do to that person, even if it's not true. Right, exactly, nothing but the truth. They play roles, okay? Like that is something to really think about because that just came out, what, a week or so ago? I'm like, huh? Her family loved her. But sometimes families don't insert themselves into certain business until you really, really, you mean it. Like, hey, is this the real one? You done? Okay. And then we go forward with what we had. Look, what they did to Romika had nothing to do with Romika and everything to do with their brokenness. Right, exactly. Romika reminds me of Kim Porter. Wow. It's so sad that Romika really had no one on that scene to help. Exactly. And I'm glad that that witness, she risked, took some risk. And she spoke up and she got her boyfriend to, check on her, make sure she was okay and things like that. Yeah, that's true too. Sometimes you want to save face and try to protect them if you're in a relationship with them. I just know this person and her husband was like a model family, but he cheated. She found out and left, and that's where it went bad. Wow. Oh my goodness. Yep, that can happen. Carlos is the type of dude that will say he made you and he would make another one. Ooh, you know what? Clock that. That's so true. That's so true. Hey, Chanel, welcome. You said that too. Good. Because they knew he wasn't ish and treating her bad. Right. Right. They knew it.
providing alibis or disposing of evidence. Sometimes they're enablers, creating the psychological environment where the primary perpetrator feels justified and supported in committing violence. The question in Holly's case: which category did she fall into? Did she know what Carlos was planning? Did she help him plan it? Did she actively participate in Romeka's death? Or did she simply create conditions where Carlos felt empowered to act? The answer might be found in that single statement: if one woman disappears, everything lines up. Because that's not the language of someone who's passively witnessing events. That's the language of someone who's considered the situation, analyzed the possibilities, and reached a conclusion about the optimal outcome. That's the language of someone who wanted Romeka gone. I load it, I aim it, I shoot twice. The song wasn't a metaphor, it was a prophecy. And on the day Romeka Meeks died, every word of it came true. The details of Romeka's death match Carlos's lyrics with chilling precision. The method, the deliberation, the repetition, not once, but twice, just as he promised. This isn't coincidence. This isn't artistic expression that happened to align with tragic.
Now, y'all, okay, I know this theory is by a long shot. All right, now here goes. Okay, y'all just hear me out. Now, his was shoot twice, right? We just talked about this the other day too. Now, remember, there was one shot, pause, and then there were two back-to-back shots. Now, there have been some theories, okay, on did Holly have some help, which is possibly why they wanted DNA samples, okay? Now, they would already have his DNA. They were requesting Holly's DNA. Now, we don't know what information the state has yet pertaining to the ballistics, DNA that was on Romeka, on her car, on the weapon. So when he just said that again, it made me think two shots, but there were not two, there were three. There was one pause and then other back to back. Also, something else to consider. How did Holly get so much blood on the inside of her hands? Okay, on the inside of her hands. That's something else we're waiting to see too. Does that come out? This is a sad story. I pray my daughters never run into a Carlos. Yes. Okay. Thank God gossip will be used in jury deliberations. Holly only needs one jury to sympathize with her. She only needs one juror to believe in gun rights and the right to defend yourself. Well, it's not self-defense in her case, so she got to come up with something else. Okay. Let's see. Heavenly Father, please forgive me. Please give Ramika full justice. Yes, calling for Carlos' arrest and indictment. Clock it. Open book on that video I'm referring to with her having on the green shirt. Holly had pink nails on and she blew a kiss. So it looked like she's mocking Ramika's death by wearing pink nails. Oh, okay. I got what you're saying. Okay. But would she have known? I don't know when that picture was taken though, or that video. I don't know how long ago that was taken, but wow. Ooh, that's chilling. Okay. That's chilling thinking about that. Yes, y'all. Get the likes up. It is for free. Also, if you are enjoying the commentary tonight, you would like to support the channel, you're welcome to send a super sticker, super chat. My Cash App is scrolling on the screen, or buy a coffee, and the moderators can put that link into the chat. Hey, Rakita, welcome. Okay, let's see here. I believe that Carlos shot the gun as well. Ooh, child, that's what I'm waiting on. These ballistic reports and to see whose fingerprints were where. All this I told y'all is adding up on them. She shouldn't have had any on her hand. Why was it a pause besides them saying it jammed? Exactly. Clock that. Okay. But that made me think about when he said twice. I said, twice. But there were 3 shots. However, 1 shot, pause, then 2.
Reality. This is evidence. When investigators arrived at the scene of Romeka's death, they found exactly what Carlos had described in his song. The preparation, the targeting, the double execution. Every element he'd rehearsed publicly, he'd now executed privately. Or had he? The question that haunted the investigation from the beginning. Did Carlos pull the trigger himself, or did he make good on his promise to want blood without holding the blade? The forensic evidence told part of the story. Ballistics, trajectory, time of death, the physical evidence of how Romeka died. But the digital evidence told another story, the story of planning, coordination, and conspiracy. Carlos's phone records in the hours and days leading up to Romeka's death showed a flurry of activity. Messages sent and deleted, calls made to specific contacts, GPS data that placed him in significant locations at significant times. Were these the communications of someone orchestrating murder from a distance?
George.
Or were they the
There
action?
were 3 shots fired. 3 shots fired, and 1 was jammed. So 2 actually hit Romeka. There's still, well, I don't know if the police have found it, but child, we still don't know what the 3rd bullet went. So she was only shot 2 times. Yes. Yeah, it's no self-defense, child. If you, for one, the way they've knocked that out is, for one, he was holding her, okay? And then she had time to go around to her car and get a loaded weapon. Thank you, Jacqueline. Welcome to the Open Book family. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Shout out to a precious one. And thank you for being a sponsor for today's live. I appreciate that. Okay. Hi, Love Spice. The fact she moved right along after doing this as if she just knew she was in the clear. Like, girl, you just killed someone, your son, brother, mother at that. So true. So true. In the beginning, they said she was shot 3 times. Yes, they did say that. I remember the guy saying she walked away and then you shot her, that she walked away. Yes. And that's the part also, y'all, when the guy says he shot her, then he was pointing to her as well. Okay, so could it have been possibly both? Now, that's something that would have to be proven, of course, which is why I think they're asking for DNA. Okay, right, he should be free. I agree. She act like life was going to go on for her. I agree with that. She did. She kept going on with life.
Of someone establishing an alibi while someone else carried out his wishes. Witness statements began to paint a picture. People who had heard Carlos talk about wanting Romeka dead. People who had seen him with individuals known to engage in violence. People who could place him, or couldn't place him, at key locations during the timeline of Romeka's death. And Holly's whereabouts during this crucial period? Conspicuously unaccounted for. Perhaps carefully accounted for in ways that provided Carlos with cover. The investigation revealed patterns. Carlos had been careful, strategic as always about creating distance between himself and the act. But his narcissism betrayed him. He couldn't resist leaving breadcrumbs, hints, suggestions that he was responsible without actually claiming. He wanted credit without consequences. When Romeka's friends heard the news, their first thought wasn't, who could have done this? It was, he actually did it. He told us he would, and he actually did it. The song had been a warning, a confession, a preview of exactly what was going to happen. And everyone who had heard it and dismissed it as entertainment now had to live with the knowledge that they'd been given a chance to prevent this, that they'd heard a man announce his intention to commit murder, and they'd called it art. The community's shock was mixed with guilt. The horror of Romeka's death was compounded by the realization that it had been preventable, that Carlos had given them every warning, that they simply hadn't believed him. But what Carlos did next, that's when the mask completely fell off. In the aftermath of Romeka Meeks's death, the world waited to see how Carlos would react. Would he express shock? Grief? Would he maintain the pretense of innocence, of having had nothing to do with the tragedy? No. Carlos got louder, nastier, uglier. His social media activity didn't decrease. It exploded, post after post, video after video. A tsunami of content that celebrated, gloated, and desecrated Romeka's memory even as her body lay in a casket. On the day of Romeka's funeral, the day her family and friends gathered to mourn, to try to find some shred of meaning in their devastating loss, Carlos posted filthy videos of her online. Not old videos shared in remembrance, not tributes or memorials. Filthy videos. Content designed to humiliate.
Now that part, I don't remember seeing anything filthy videos from him. So in this video, I don't believe that part. However, those videos that Q was posting back then, we saw those during this time. And I do agree with OG Patrice on this part, that he should have definitely not been allowed to leave that day. He should have also been in handcuffs, especially with both of them having so much blood on their hands. Both of them should have been taken down, okay, and questioned during that time. Because, sir, you have a lot on your hands as well. So he should not have had a chance to go change clothes and do all of this. He should have gone. Hold on, y'all. The computer is going out. Can y'all hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Testing. Let's see. Can y'all hear me? Let's see. Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay, good. And I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna stop that one because it was at the end, anyways, on that part, and it kind of recaps. Okay, thank y'all so much. I just want to be sure. Okay, if the witness didn't do anything else, she let those cops get the gun before they wiped it clean. Yes, definitely that. Because, and that's a good point. Oh my gosh, that's a good point. Before everyone started walking, or right when I should say, everyone started walking up there, she went and put the weapon into the car, right? So in that moment, that's when the police came and got the weapon. They would not have had a chance to wipe it down. That is a very good point. I never thought about that. Thank you for sharing that. Oh my goodness. Wow. The police looked like it was the first day on the job for them, right? Exactly. Oh my goodness. This is why it was said, alleged that he was an informant. Right. because of Precious one. That was something I thought about too. It's so ironic that that particular day they didn't have a pair of handcuffs for him, right? Oh, okay. They didn't take him down that day, right? We have a whole little murder right here, and he wasn't taken down that day. Oh, but when he was getting his butt whipped, okay, on that ground, they made sure that they found a pair of handcuffs to get their boy up out of there. Okay, it was to save his life that day. Okay, it's so ironic how that turned around the next day. Okay, or the not the next day, but the next time when he was at court that time. The elevator don't go all the way up in her head. Okay. Let's see. Did anyone notice that one of his boys looked at Carlos funny when he said he didn't hit her with the car door? Yes, Jacqueline. I did a whole video. Y'all, that will be forever funny to me. His boys gave him away that day. Okay, when he was out there talking to the cameraman, every time he lied, they turned their heads. I'm gonna have to bring that video up. Child, that tickled me. I am gonna forever think that that's funny. Okay, yes, CPD screwed that part up. Coercive control, yes. Them officers may have known him, possibly. Can y'all hear me? She said I was breaking up. If the witness had not spoke up, they would have left. Yes, definitely. I think they would have gotten out of there. Hey, Brittany. Right, to keep those witnesses covered. Romika was not with Carlos. Romika was on vacation. Yeah, she was. And he even admitted that she had gone on a vacation. See, he couldn't take that either. He couldn't take that. He couldn't take that she had moved on, was going on trips with her new boyfriend and stuff like that. He couldn't take it. If it wasn't for the witness on the bus, the two of them would have gotten away. Yes. This was not okay. I don't care who it is or what they look like. Looks ain't everything. Need to know what your mindset is. Right. I agree. That one homeboy had his whole back head in the camera. Let me pull that video up, child, for a good laugh. I think we looked at this the other day, probably about 8 times. Yeah, it tickles me because I have never seen, in the hood and stuff, everybody thinks that they are so tough and, stuff like that. And, we're not going to tell on you, got this code and that. Well, on this particular day, I don't realize that they were giving their boy up. Okay. Hold on. Okay, let me pull this up right quick. This was too funny to me. Okay. Now I want y'all to pay attention. Now, my dude, the one with the black cap on, with that blue, he is the one that really got me right there. Really let us know when Carlos was lying. Guess what? Tia Ewing stated that her camera crew
Everything, to add of the lies and everything, what they said I did. I know for a fact it wasn't true. I didn't headlock her. I didn't beat her with the door. I only try to diffuse the situation. They keep deflecting away from that. And what I did what they said I did made it sound harsh, and I didn't do that. So we need justice. We need justice to be served too, the truth. And they keep deflecting from it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was just like, for me, when those dudes was looking, they knew he was lying. And I'm playing just one more time. I'm not going to do like the last time. I played this thing about 8 times.
Add of the lies and everything, what they said I did. I know for a fact it wasn't true. I didn't headlock her. I didn't beat her with the door. I only try to diffuse the situation. They keep deflecting away from that. And what I did what they said I did made it sound harsh, and I didn't do that. So we need justice. We need justice to be served too, the truth. And they keep deflecting from it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Baby, that look, It was about the look for me. He scrunched up his eyes like, dude, you know you did. Baby, he gave him up right there. I don't care what anybody say. He even thought you were lying that day. Okay, did y'all see the little girl in pink in shock looking at Meek's unalive body? Oh yeah, the little girl. Yes, that day. Yes, we did see that. That was so sad. Those kids out there, y'all, they were traumatized. Those little kids that probably traumatized seeing that. And they were standing there. Yeah. And then to see Holly out there, just looking nonchalant after you just unalive someone. I think that little girl with the braids, she was shocked by that. Yes, he aged 10 years in between interviews. Okay, Pinocchio. Who said Pinocchio? Girl, is this a name you gave him? Wait, Pinocchio's. Oh my God, that's clever. The man looking scared like somebody was going to run up on them. Probably for lying. Okay. He was deflecting. Yeah, he was looking like Carlos was lying. I'm telling y'all, he gave him away. His own friend gave him away. They looking like this mofo lying. He did. Becca, you not get me in trouble playing that. Girl, I played that thing about 8 times. I played it about 8 times. It is under videos on my channel. Y'all can watch it over and over on repeat. Because, baby, I know I did. I think I've watched that thing a total of probably 25 times so far. I think I watched that one more than I watched the other interview he did. Because, see, the one in the blue, every time I see his face, y'all, I even did a short. Every time, y'all, it takes me out. Okay, I will forever think that that's funny. If he's tired of the lies, how does he think Romika's family and supporters feel? Right, we sick of it. I know Romika was sick of it. We don't even really know you like that. In the little short time that we've been exposed to who you are, we know you've been lying. Okay, and we tired of it. So I can only imagine how she was feeling, putting up with that. That's why they say she is a danger. She did it in front of children. Exactly. Carlos cannot sleep because he knows that he will be arrested. Yeah, he coming next. Baby, Anonymous is on your behind. Okay, they coming, baby. They whoever this Anonymous is, baby, they coming up with a lot of different stuff. So I don't know who behind that channel, but baby, they are not playing. Yeah, they were nervous looking around like somebody gonna jump out the bushes because he was lying. Okay, that is so true, baby. They said, look, now you had your other friend here, people out here jumping you and got this man embarrassed. He didn't even come back to court. D. Brown said, you not embarrassing me no more. I ain't even going. Okay, I'll wait in the car in case y'all need somebody to pull up to the steps real fast. I'll come get y'all. Y'all just run. Okay, baby, they looking around like this dude on this camera line. You gonna get us out here lying like that? Okay. Run the girl. His friend gave him up. He didn't even, he could have played it off like the one in black on the right. He could have just played it off and just looked around, put him some shades on. See, next time when they come, he gonna make them all wear shades. Okay. See, he could have just looked around when he lied and then, but baby, he couldn't even hide his face. He was like, what? That dude, baby, get him some glasses. Okay. He wasn't ready for your lies, and we never ready. Okay. He thought you was about to say something new. Child, he was like, this dude just out here lying. That's your own boy. They are going to need therapy. They need to sue Holly's family for mental health. Right. They were looking around to see who else was listening to the lie. Okay. Who else listened to this mess? Child, you over here talking to the cameraman? Is this being recorded? Oh, Lord, who gonna jump out the bushes on us? That's what they look like. I'm telling you, it's crazy work. Y'all, And the way they started looking like dudes started. Cindy! Okay. Oh my gosh. Who does he want justice for? He said he wants justice for truth. Okay, now I don't know what that means. I'm still trying to figure out which truth, though, he's talking about. I don't know. It wasn't justice for Holly. wasn't justice for Romika. He's trying to mainly make sure the attention and focus stays off of him. So whatever he has to come out here and say or pretend to say, as long as they don't take him down, okay? He's not going to yell out justice for Holly, free Holly. He's not going to say that. He's just glad that it's not him, okay? Right now, though. Remember, it's not over. Okay, he thought it was over back on September the 8th. And look at where we are today. Okay, it's not over. It's still not over. Yeah, he's scared. Yes, we are praying for justice in this case, y'all. It is a patience thing. Okay, it's going to take, like some time. They're building their case, but it's faster and closer than we can imagine. Best believe that. Okay, I feel like even with this last court hearing, that the state was prepared for some things, and so I just hope they continue to stay on top of things. Dot every T, dot every I, cross every T, baby. Be ready. Don't miss any deadlines. Okay, be overly prepared in this case. I'd be scared too if his big ass face walked up on me too. Okay. Yeah, I heard one had a boot on. I don't know what they were gonna do, child. Yeah, not him yet. Let's heavy on the yet. Yes. The one on the left act like he was trying his best not to laugh. He did look like he was gonna laugh at one point. Yes, I do feel like that. He really wanted to say justice for Holly and him, but he knew us Ramika supporters were coming. Okay, he knew that, child. I know when they go outside, dude was like, dude, why you say so? Right, Cindy, child. They probably laughed at that mess in the car. Ooh, child. Shout out to Philly Girl Juice, S. Rogers, talking with G, Lakeisha, a precious one. Thank y'all so much for being sponsors for tonight's live. I really appreciate it. Narcissists are always the hero or the victim. Yes, definitely with him. But y'all, I have held y'all long enough. Thank everyone for tapping in tonight. We have had some laughs, but y'all, this was informative and very interesting to me. It was so close to, in my opinion, what is happening, okay? And some things that we've already found out the truth on this. Thank y'all so much. I definitely appreciate your support tonight. Carlos doesn't care about Holly. He only wants justice for his lies, okay? Thank you so much, Feeling the Grits. I appreciate it. In Carlos's narcissistic mind, it was Romika and Holly's fault only. Oh yeah, Vanessa. Look, Vanessa, this is how we know. He doesn't even put himself into the stories. Okay. He was there. He tells us that every time, but when he's telling the narrative, he doesn't tell his part. That's the thing. He doesn't tell his part. Yeah, hit that like button. It is for free. So is Ari trying to bully her way with the judge to win the case? I don't think that judge is going. Oh, I don't think so. That judge is not falling for it. Love you too. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. It really means a lot to me. Yeah, I think he set up Holly as well. Ooh, George, clock that. Okay. We don't know. And welcome. Now, how do I say this name? Indigo, I hope I said that right. Thank you and welcome to the Open Book family. I appreciate that. Brody, I see you pow her first. Okay, Tammany, clock it. It's going to come out. Okay. It is definitely going to come out. And I hope that they protect these witnesses. Okay. Protect their information and protect these witnesses. Because, baby, what we dealing with, what we see going on, okay, it's not the norm. Yeah, Joe Clark. We need a Joe Clark. We need a Joe Clark on this case. Okay, so I'm glad he is. He's not playing games. Yeah, he is not. Oh, Indigo. Oh, it's just spelled differently. I love it. That is beautiful. Yes, it is justice for Romika. Make sure y'all drop those pink hearts in the chat. It is justice for Romika. Thank you, Tutu. I appreciate all of you all. And y'all have a great evening and a great week. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell because you never know when I'm going to go live. Thank you and have a great evening. Bye-bye.
You just flip through truth with the open book. If you felt that heat, like share and stay locked in. Another chapter done, but we far from finished. Truth on the mic, yeah, we handle business. Real talk, no fluff, just facts and fire. From the book to the block, we taking it higher. The open book, every voice matters, every lie shatters. Catch you next page.
Well, congratulations to all of the new members. I forgot to do this earlier. Y'all probably said she's still here. Shout out and welcome to Marcus' mom. It is what it is. Sky, I think Sky the McCorkle. I hope I'm saying that correctly. A precious one. And Deanna, welcome to the Open Book members. Congratulations.